through their preferred channel, and the time queuing while listening to nice waiting tunes is definitely over. So the new instant and 24/7 mentality is a new expectation that businesses should also incorporate within their customer experience. Of course, to avoid businesses to scale their support and communications teams to unprecedented sizes, bots can jump in handily to relieve the customer support teams with first-line and frequently asked questions by simply automating it by using a chat or voice bot. Jean-Christophe can further elaborate on it, on which ways such a project can successfully be launched. Voilà. Christophe, you should unmute yourself. Yeah.
So sorry for that. So basically on this slide, I wanted just to show the top 3 reasons, for example, why customers are using chatbot. So on this first part, you can see that big part of the consumers are basically using chatbot to get a quick answer, a detailed answer to their question, and resolving basically a complaint. This is really the top 3. The top 3 of the industry that has accepted the usage of chatbot and so on are first the online retail, the healthcare, the telecom, but you have to know that if we take all different area, nobody is below 20% of usage of chatbot or voice bot. So we can see with this that the usage of chatbot is more and more used and spread over different industry, and for sure is used more and more by end user customer. Now, in terms of value for the companies implementing a chatbot, the 3 top reasons to implement a chatbot, it's first a 24/7 service. So this is really a key element, that the chatbot is always online, can answer questions, and this can help because we know that all help desk, customer care, and so on are not physically open always 24/7. And also a very important point is to get instant response. So quick answer to question of customer. Getting also an answer to simple question, as simple as possible. So we have really to work on analyzing what are the different domains to cover, and the question where we can give a real good content for the answer. Now, in terms of worldwide, we can see that this survey was showing that 67% of customer and consumer in the world has been using already a chatbot. 67%. It's really huge. And another important point, and also to define clear expectation, when you implement a chatbot for customer support, you can expect up to 30% of cost savings. So this is also important element to know around the implementation of chatbot. So on the next slide, basically I'm showing you, let's say, the process and the roadmap. How do we implement a chatbot? And the best way to implement a chatbot, it's not to run a project over 6 months or 1 year, covering all the different aspects, but to do it with short sprint, with a discovery phase, really to analyze and do some workshop to understand the goal of the chatbot, the persona of the chatbot, what it should be doing, then prototype the chatbot with a viable prototype that you can already put in production to have some return on, let's say, your investment, and then plan the next phases and the growth of the chatbot. It means that if you use standard, let's say, planning, you can develop and implement a first version of your chatbot within 7 or 9 weeks, depending on the complexity that you want to put in this prototype. Now I will give the voice again to Delphine for the last slide of the introduction.
Yes, thank you. So of course, like Jacques-Christophe described, it's super important to have a right methodology and a right project track to launch a successful chatbot. Now, of course, making use of the right tool can make things, of course, a lot easier. That's why I just want to quickly go over 4 important things that should be considered while choosing a bot platform. So firstly, it's important to have a platform that is really oriented toward business users. Either are people with not per se technical skills who will talk to your customers and who know how they will interact and how they will and what the conversational trees of a standard customer will be. So they should also be the ones in charge of the automation part of it, of the configuration, like the daily configuration and implementation of the chatbot project. So we're talking about the daily implementation and working on the platform. Of course, it is really important, as you can see, that this is backed by high performance technology. We promise not to go too deep into the technical details, so I'm not going to do that. But high performance AI is the aspect that will ensure that the bot will understand the user well. So of course, while choosing your platform, it's also really important to evaluate the performance of it. So as the daily maintenance and configuration will be led by business profiles, it is super important to have a platform that is open enough to also be able to connect with backend systems or third-party software. This is, of course, where IT will also come into play. A very brief example here is that imagine that your clients ask what the amount of the invoice is. On a basic fact page, you will just have an explanation, like a generic explanation that will give you a way how to find it on the website or on the invoice itself. But while you integrate with the backend systems, for instance, of the company's invoice systems, you can provide the end customer with the exact amount and a personalized answer immediately through the chatbot. So this is really an interesting way to by using actually an open chatbot platform and a system that is willing to integrate, you can really set up truly intelligent digital assistants, which is of course an interesting one in your customer experience. And last but not least, an obvious one, always check if the needed channels like Messenger or WhatsApp and the needed languages are incorporated that are incorporated within your chatbot platform, so that you can get started right away. I think that's it for me.
Okay, so now basically I will give the voice to the real user, and first to Tango and Luis Camara that will present us their experience on chatbot. Just a small remark for the question we will run at the end of all presentation over the question. If you have anything to ask, we will be welcome to answer it at the end of the presentation. Please, Luis, go ahead.
So, first of all, in terms of our chatbot approach, we base it in 3 key pillars, which are, first of all, purpose. What do I mean by this? Means that we define a very specific mission to our chatbot. Second of all, is focus, because once you start building a chatbot, it's quite easy to be tempted to enlarge the scope and catch several opportunities that you are detecting as you go. And it's quite important to secure time and efficiency and to be successful that you focus on your purpose. And second of all, it's value in the sense that do prioritize. So when we go back to this three key success pillars that we use in our approach. In terms of purpose, it's all about knowing what needs you are catering. So basically understand what the market, the consumers are expecting, and what is the opportunity that you want that bot to fulfill. Second of all is know your main pain point. So do understand the customer experience you are providing to your consumers, and decide to treat those that need immediate improvement. Third, set your priorities right. So don't try to do everything. And third, challenge feasibility. Often, to be able to deploy a bot that brings value to consumers, that has a valuable AI system behind, we can be faced with some often internal challenges. Force your teams to look to pragmatic solutions to move forward. Going back to focus. So this is all about to stick to your objectives, stick to your purpose. There are many opportunities, put them in list, make an inventory, prioritize them, and tackle them later on. But keep to your core purpose to secure a successful launch. Second of all, which is quite important to keep focus, is there to say no. It's tempting, but I know what value I want to bring. I know my purpose, so I'll keep focus on it. Third, it's value, meaning that it's quite important to secure the return on the effort you're doing. So your purpose must be on the money, focus on it, and build the value around it. And then you can go to that list of other opportunities, to that inventory, and step up and enrich. So you just need to focus on your core to start, and then you can diversify, enrich, reinforce. That's what we've done. So all along my presentation of how we addressed and launched our chatbot, I'm going to be focusing on purpose, focus, and value. So first of all, how do we started? We started in 2018 with a small project, a small bot that had a very specific purpose: manage stock availabilities for a new iPhone launch. So basically, he was providing consumers stock information and allowing to book devices. That was a very specific purpose. The market understood it, and we had a very high uptake and very good market return. So based on this initial project, end of last year, we went further, and basing on our purpose, we said, okay, we want to tackle consumer main pain point. So we enlarged the scope, and we said what we actually want to do is build a new service bot that will address key service needs. I'll go later on the purpose of this bot, but that was our vision. The launch of the solution that we did 6 months ago was aiming to provide remote service to our users about our services. And then we also define what are the next steps. Okay, we do have our opportunity lists, what's coming next. And we build a roadmap to enrich features and also attach a commercial engine to our bot. So at the very start, what we did was focusing on customer support and not on commercial needs. That came later on based on our priorities. So this allowed us to be stepping up the value we're giving to consumers. We started with a very, very specific function. We enlarged it to service, so to help the pain in the consumer journeys, building more value, and then we stepped it up again later on to add value, but we did it by steps. So in the launch we did 6 months ago, which is the service bot, we had a very clear mission. So the purpose was predefined to the detail. We had 4 missions. First of all, one was giving technical support to repair needs. So if customers were saying my service is not working properly, they could troubleshoot and solve the service. Second, installing our service and using via sharing information and tutorials, and then admin support and invoice support, which is more administrative tasks. So this was the scope at launch. What made it different? What made it a success? I think it has to do with the way we set it up and connected the bot. I think first has to do with customer data. So this bot that had very specific purpose was able to collect, identify the customer line, and then already filter the resolutions or the solutions that he was proposing, because he knew that that customer had, let's take an example for broadband. He had a fiber connection. So all the troubleshoot he was exchanging with the customers was specifically made for fiber repair solutions. Now, this adds value because consumer does not need to filter and look for the content. The bot understands what type of connectivity the consumer has and can push the right content, helping finding a solution. Now, the other part which is quite important in our view and for the success of a chatbot is what we call handoff systems. We didn't want from the beginning a bot with dead ends. So we don't want customers trying to find solutions for their troubleshoot or for their admin needs. We wanted always that they could end the experience with a solution, either continuity or resolution. So in terms of continuity, what we built is what we believe to be a strong handoff system that brings value. First of all, if he could not find the solution immediately, he could be, if the case was serious, moved to live chat. So he would have a technician or an expert on the other side chatting live with him to find a solution. Either he could also opt to create what we call internally a service ticket, meaning that he could opt to share the information and be called back by our help desk to help him find the solution. Or that he could be moved to our forum where he will find a plethora of information around his needs built up by us in our customer community. So he always had an exit for his need. This is our approach based on focus on purpose and value and creating a bot that facilitates and accelerates the customer, giving always a solution at the end. Thank you very much. I hope this was useful. Christophe?
Okay, now I will be giving the voice to Miguel that will present also their own experience at Le Foyer with the chatbot and their target in the future. Thank you, Miguel.
Yes, for us, the story began 3 years ago when Foyer organized its first hackathon. A personal assistant and the chatbot made it to the final, but none of us won the competition. Okay, normally, where's my mouse? Okay. Yes. So in fact, none of us won the competition, but the story wasn't finished at this moment because some months later, the executive committee of Foyer asked me to push the idea a bit further and to check what is possible with this new technology. So we made our plan and decided to do it step by step because also we are an insurance company and you know insurance companies do not run too fast. So first up is learn and test by building an internal chatbot. Next, we go to our agents and gain experience with them. And finally, we try to apply everything we learned before to our clients. So we started searching for a reliable and experienced partner to help us achieving the goal. We accomplished a POC and then a second one with different partners and solutions. And both came to the same conclusion. Finding an experienced partner with a clear method is difficult when it concerns an emerging technology. So we put our idea into the fridge and decided to wait a little bit more. Last year we crossed the road of Chatlayer. The product seemed fine. They showed us a method and we checked with some of their clients. With the experience of our previous books, we decided to bypass the another one and to jump right into the project. So during the next 10 weeks, we build our internal chatbot from scratch under instruction from Peter, Nico, and Joachim. They are coach at Chatlayer. The method is simple: 1 workshop per week on a subject you need to cover. They showed us the theory and some example, and we tried to apply it. At the next workshop next week, the coach checked what we've done and gave us some hints to do it better. These workshops go from defining the scope, show how to cover questions and answers, up to testing and maintenance. All the things you have to cover during your project and after. At the end of October, the baby was born, and her name was Leonie. So at its launch, Leonie answered about 60 HR questions like working hours, how to take holidays, or what to do when your child is ill. Since then, we've added about more 200 intents covering facilities, parking issues, the daily menu at our company restaurant, some home office and COVID-19 help, and since last week, she's also e-learning support in SAS. Today, Leonie knows about 250 intents, a little bit more, and also uses 50,000 reference expressions to find the right questions, answering about 8,000 questions. And nearly 9 out of 10 questions today are recognized. So we are very happy with this. So now let's have a look at the future. We are currently working on better integration with our backend API, and we plan to link Leonie to our internal help desk to classify and generate Jira issues automatically. We still plan to create a support chatbot for our agents and, of course, offer a new communication channel to our clients. Thank you. I hope that this can show you what we've done in the last 6 months with our Leonie.